Hello everybody, it is I, Juniper Bloom Mystique. I'm coming on today in a bit of a sudden fashion, or doing this video I should say, for the Return of Christ work that I have been doing. I have been doing the Return of Christ work since 2019, and I go by the nudges that present themselves in my heart space. I am recording this on my phone, but I'm also doing an audio recording on my computer for backup, just in case, because I just want to make sure that what I capture is recorded and gotten in full. This crystal grid that you see, I just channeled. It does have components that I have created through the Return of Christ, including healing ones that are filled with rays of the sun, very powerful Christ light activations that I did during the pyramid activations of the Return of Christ. And I do mean pyramid activations. I have created these pyramids, so these pyramids I have made. This pyramid right here is mine, and it was part of the ascension sphere I created for the pyramid activations. This is the divine masculine wand, the one I channeled for my new DM when he became part of this journey and of me. Because I did get a walk-in divine masculine, and I talk about that often. My original did not make it through or even up into the resurrection of Christ time frame. So I did get a walk-in, and we completed the journey together. And then this is my feminine wand that goes with the masculine one. Okay, and then the rest are crystals, including the other ones that I have made through the twin flame journey. And this I also made. This is my necklace, but they told me to bring it in. And then we have certain crystals here. So this sphere is important. You guys, the reason I'm here today is because I need to do a component of the Return of Christ, which is undoing the money matrix wall. In the Return of Christ work, I undid the virus matrix wall, and I realized that, money has a big control, and I have been taking my power back from those necessary to take it back from. And in part of that, I realized that money was an issue. Okay, money is an issue. Money is a part of the matrix. It was created for the matrix, through the matrix. And during the Return of Christ, there are 13 gates of clarity, 13 gates to the ascension, 13 gates to the new earth, to Christ, to heaven on earth, and 13 gates of abundance, okay? And you are given a new key, you are given a new contract with God, because you heal all your karma. You have to heal all your karma to make it into the new earth. First of all, you have to. That is part of the path to righteousness to begin with, okay? That I did, which is the entirety of the Return of Christ, okay? So quite loaded, quite complex. This is very real. The space is very real. You'll also see the flower of life grid here. So it's all relevant, okay? But also, I feel this is urgent before the election. So today is November 2nd of 2024. All the other work has already been done prior, of undoing all contracts back to the beginning of time that are made out of darkness. And a lot of them had to do with the presidential cortex. Even the Holy Grail was undone on Christmas of 22. The resurrection did occur on Christmas Day of union of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. You guys, this is important, okay? And also the Emancipation Proclamation was done in clearing Mount Shasta. And then I went into activating Fiji again, which there was a pyramid there underwater in Fiji. There was also 333 islands, so it's very relevant. And Fiji had the Portal of the Gods as well that I reopened. And we brought back Christ consciousness and undid the false veil, okay? And so that is who I am. That is what I have been doing, and is very real and very relevant. And this component is necessary now, because it's something I actually had to push through today, you guys. I'm not kidding. So I was taking my power back, and I felt where it was being pulled from. And this is something that has been coming at me for some time now. I've actually felt it, which was not normal for me to begin with. So it did not really originate from me, but it is part of the return of Christ as well, because it is false, just like the virus matrix, right? The virus matrix is also false. And I undid that. It's part of the path to righteousness. If you wanted to receive that, you could. Otherwise, you need to heal all viruses out of you. There is actually a coding of it. So it's like in codes. And the matrix wall is like number codes. Whereas Christ, return of Christ, the true earth, the true God creation is light language codes, okay? But it's light language of God that has been since returned. So even my light language is of God, and it's slightly different than what you're going to find out there, because it was taken away from earth, because they were constantly using God's light to hurt, to take the power and to control mankind. And that is exactly what they do with money. So I do burp when I connect and when I release. I cannot help that. If you have worked with me, if you've watched my videos, you're going to know that. I don't mean it to be rude. I can't help it. It's a good thing in truth. So I will burp away. But this morning, I started truly feeling something again was off, and I started calling my power back more and calling my power back more. And then I realized I heard the money matrix. I needed to undo the money matrix. And so I dropped this fear out of me, pushed it away, cleared it out, and I kept burping like continually. So it is definitely time. And I could tell where people were anchoring into that shadow. Okay. So it's super important that we let it go. It is also part of the matrix and Christ return stuff that has to be undone. Okay. So understand that this is very real. It is very entailed, and it is part of the return of Christ. Okay. This is going to be a guided meditation. I don't know what's coming through. I just heard to do it, and so I'm doing it. Okay. But this, I was also told to create. So I did just now for this purpose only. Okay. So I have my candle that I have made that I'm going to light, and I also have some Palo Santo that I'm going to light. So if you wish to join me, if you wish to be done with the virus, not virus, it is a virus, like a virus, the money matrix wall as part of the return of Christ, it is necessary. Then partake with an open mind and an open heart, okay? Because you're not going to understand everything, but you can feel it all if you can feel, okay? This is the return of Christ work, however, so it's quite vast and it's very real. This is the divine masculine energy and the feminine energy. Okay? So again, I don't know what's coming. But I'm going to set my intentions and light this candle. And then I will begin. I also have my drum in case it calls for me to use it. So I call on the creator of all that is and all the angels too to surround us now in the highest light in and the highest light out. Thank you. I remove all energies that don't belong, that cannot receive at this time. I remove all energies that have intent outside of unconditional love, and I open the gates to those that's heart is more pure than their mind. Allow us to be in a safe space of love and light. I call on the energies of the north, the east, the south, and the west all the way back to the north, anchored into the highest divine light, love, and support. I call in all the pyramids magic of Christ's light that is filled from before. From Indonesia to Myanmar to Machu Picchu to Budapest to Thailand, Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Ecuador, Congo, Kilimanjaro, British Columbia, and more. Budapest, Fiji, I call in the Sphinx, what you call the Sphinx. It is not the Sphinx. It is Horus, return the portal of time. I call it in. I call it in for the most powerful space and time. I open up the portal inside, which is the portal of time, or actually the portal of life. I feel God in the presence. I'm being surrounded by lions at this time. I see lots of masters, and I see the Galactic Council stepping in to my right. I see the tree of life and the new earth in its existent form. And the matrix wall of time undone. And the White House. And Mount Shasta, and what was done and undone there as well. Mount Shasta is not alive. It is not filled with any light at all. It is hollow, and all of that area actually has no light in the new earth at all. It was cut off from life support of God. I bring forth the anointing of the blood of Christ. And any other beings that wish to step in and be with me and anchor me in at this time. All the trees are coming in that are filled with Christ's light to support and to help all elements that be and any other beings of light. Pleiades and the masters that be also are stepping in. It is time to make right what has been done. It is time to make right the power that they have taken from the one. I set this into the highest space of intention and protection and love. And I call in those who are welcome here today to help them rise above in every way. So be it, and so it now is. I light this Palo Santo with the intention of purity and cleanliness, to activate the spirits that be and remove anything that does not belong. Tatanka is also stepping in. Saint Germain is stepping in with the Akashic records. This will be recorded. All the work I have done is. The element of fire is being called in, the element of water and air, and all of the earth with the activated and pure crystalline grid of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The space is very potent and pure, so anything that is not that will be removed at this time. If you wish to receive, and the best that you can, however, I will block some energy out. There are some people who hurt me and then try to use these videos, and I don't allow them to do that, right? Until they can own it and clear it. They are blocked, because when you bring judgments here, it blocks your heart, okay? So they just won't be able to receive at this time until they are ready. But those that are ready, those that use internal discernment, those that investigate, are willing to grow in doing that, they're on the path of the sun, they're on the path of the ascension, can receive at this time. So if that is you, put your feet on the floor. I need your feet on the floor and not crossed. And I need your palms facing up. You can keep your eyes open if you choose to, or you can close them and follow along. It is up to you. You will hear me, you will feel it either way you go. This is more powerful than you know. You are in the house of God. All gods and goddesses are joining us now. It is time to undo the money matrix wall. Justice will be served once and for all. Freedom and sovereignty. Abundance and riches returned to what they should be. Kumbaleanta. For we used to have lots of riches and gold and abundance and purity and plenty for all, and no fear and control involved with that. So mote it be, so mote it be. You cannot use what is ours to control us anymore. I undo the matrix control. Big shift applied. Big shift applied. Kumbalayanto, kumbalayanto lakataraiu. Let us begin. I have called these energies in, and I will allow what needs to be to be. I'm closing my eyes now with my feet on the floor as well, and my drum in my hand for necessity. Going through the portal of time, as you would call it, or a portal of life. It is like a black hole. It is at the bottom of the Sphinx. It has been used through the journey of the return of Christ multiple times. Through all 13 gates, past the Nile, into the gate of the One, the Sun, the Moon, the home of the new. Adam and Eve returned. Kumpalaya, kumpalawaya. I now go in through Kilimanjaro to the White House. I go underneath the White House. But before I begin, we're going to bring the light in to ground and secure you all. I bring in the light of the sun and the moon down, twinkling upon you, coming down from the heavens above, guided by the great northern star of love. Some of you, it will go through you, and others it will go around you, to put a light around you and anchor you into the earth below. For those it can't go through yet, because if there's too much shadow, I don't want to hurt you. You cannot be duality in Christ's light anymore. So if you had too much shadow and I did this, it wouldn't help you. You must remove as much shadow as you can to get to this space and time. But you can still receive what you can for now. For there is truly no space and time in existence, especially as you know it. We are all connected. We are all part of truth and the One and the Sun, at least those that are, right? There are some that are false, but they won't stay for this as it is. They'll be the ones to dislike it. So before we even begin even further, I'm going to tap into the crystalline grid, the masculine and feminine light, and all the crystals that give power of Christ's light to the pyramids. The flower of life in the earth, the core of the earth, to open and shine bright to the stars above. I activate all the planets in alignment that are true and new and above you. I call in all the poles, even the new ones too, that we have created. I call in the recalibrated earth of life's glow and flow. Only the new, only the new. Fiji's coming in heightened in this energy for this one. Mount Shasta as well for more undoing through the White House. I keep hearing White House, White House, White House, White House, government, White House. And then I see Stonehenge, and something with the Great Wall of China. If you are receiving, keep your eyes comfortable, if not closed, and take your focus from your crown, down your face, down your throat, into your chest. As I draw down the light of the sun and the moon and the northern star too, to come down and through you or around you, through the crown, through the third eye, into the throat. Down from the throat into the heart. And there is where I find the matrix of money. It's in the crystalline grid, and something with the Great Wall of China. The White House, the Pentagon, the Pentagon, the Pentagon. With the Pentagon, I see alien life force. So I see what we would call aliens. I see them interacting with the Pentagon, and then they do things in the earth. They do things in the earth grid from the sky to the earth below. In the Great Wall of China. And Saudi Arabia, in Africa too, in Ghana. Great Wall of China. So I see these like tunnels of connectedness to everything that I'm mentioning, from the Great Wall of China to the Pentagon and alien creations. They have a docking station in the Atlantic Ocean, and something with Antarctica, and more, and more, and more, and more. Fire, fire, fire from the Earth's core. So I see a contract just pop up. There's a contract, and I'm in your heart space. I take the light down further through your solar plexus, your sacral and your root, and down your legs, through your feet, and into the earth. I anchor you in. I anchor you in. Not to the core, but the crystalline grid. For this is a ride. This is a ride. Get ready for change in tide. Something with the water, something with the water, something with ice shelf, something with Pentagon and aliens galore, something with the White House and Stonehenge and the Great Wall of China, Saudi Arabia and Ghana. So I see this table, the round table of the knights round table, and they're like having a meeting. They're having a meeting, the round table, the Pentagon for what it was before, and its connection to the White House, I see them deciding to separate, to segregate, and take control and have power. And they celebrate, and they smack cups, and they drink, deciding to make control through money brings. Money stings. It's like having a conversation. Knights at the round table. It's having a conversation, and it's a way to have power. We can have power. We can have power. There's a contract created by the Knights of the Round Table. Has to do with the Pentagon, and eventually the Great Wall of China, and the White House, and Stonehenge, and extraterrestrials, and even Ghana. They took our gold and our riches. They took them. And they decided to change money, to take control of it, and decide who gets it. A division of money and greed. greed. The treasures they took, the treasures they took. It's greed. It's greed. It's greed, and it's lies, and it's greed, and it's lies, and there's bloodshed. And it wasn't just money. Oh no, it's minerals and diamonds. Diamonds and jewels. Diamonds and jewels. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna open our hearts even more. And from the center of our hearts, I'm gonna draw out the light of emerald from the angels and masters and the gods and goddesses galore. Kampaleo, kampawaile oto, kampawaiteo. From the crystalline grid, I'm gonna draw up some light into our feet, our ankles, our calves, and our knees and our thighs, up into our hips, our roots and our sacral, the root chakra, return to Fiji. So I'm taking our root chakra and aligning it to Fiji, Kampalo, which is the earth's true root chakra, and somehow the Pentagon has something to do with this. I'm cutting ties now. I'm handed a scroll. I'm handed a scroll. I'm cutting ties from the Pentagon, from our root chakra. Pay attention to the shape of the Pentagon. The Pentagon. The White House to Pentagon. To Stonehenge. To Fiji. Into Mount Shasta. There's a pattern. There's a shape. They took God's power. The triangle with the eye on the dollar. The Knights of the Round Table. Cutting it now from the root chakra of all. Of choose God. To all who choose God. Some will still choose the matrix. There's nothing we can do, but I'm removing it for all, either way. It has to be undone, and you have to see the truth. You have to see the truth, and it has to be undone. And I see these guys celebrating and talking, and it started at the Knights of the Round Table. Talk about spell casting. So there was spell casting, and it has to do with like the shape of the Pentagon and how it connects to the White House, and it goes underneath, and there's like these black cloaks and these crosses, and I'm gonna throw up. I'm so dizzy. I'm so dizzy. I'm so dizzy. Taking the light up now to the sacral, solar plexus, and the heart, into the heart, into the heart. Taking all of our light space from our heart into the core of the earth, into the core of the earth, into the core of the earth, the crystalline grid, the Sphinx or portal of time, Horus return, Sekhmet, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. My DM and I. There's this weird serpent serpent. I'm hearing serpent. I'm hearing serpent. I'm seeing the Pentagon. I'm hearing serpent, and I'm seeing the Pentagon, and I'm seeing this Knights at the Round Table, and they're doing some kind of spell casting, and it has to do with the shape of the Pentagon, the shape of a Pentagon, and the elements that be, and the elements that be, and they took the power of the one, the power of the sun, and the power of the moon, and they used it against you. They used it against you. They created this fear. They created the fear. The fear is the northern point, the Pentagon. I read from the scroll and I undo it now. And then it went like into Stonehenge, and I like blew up a stone. They aligned it to the power of the one, the sun, and the moon. Okay. You guys, it has to do with Mount Shasta. I hope you can understand what I'm saying, because I see the triangle with the eye. I see the triangle with the eye, and they changed money. They used it against you because my wife deserves the dress. My wife deserves the stuff. I deserve recognition. I deserve the power. I deserve the power. I deserve the power. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to create fear. Ha ha ha. I'm going to create fear. Ha ha ha. And I see them saying this. I see them doing this spell casting. It's the shape of the Pentagon. And each point represents some kind of power forsaken, power of taken, power of the sun and the moon. And then I see the cross with Jesus too. And I see it burning. I see it burning. And then there's a serpent. There's a serpent and something to do with Stonehenge. And I feel like I'm going to throw up. I have to undo it from the crystalline grid and the Pentagon. I need to undo the Pentagon from the crystalline grid. It needs to go. It needs to go from every point of fear, bloodshed, and control. If you don't comply, we will kill you. Money's more important than love. So there were great riches amongst the king and the queen. There were great riches for all. They didn't choose who got some. It was available for all. You didn't have to pay for water and electricity and to live and to have joy. You didn't have to pay for it. It was free for all. The earth supplied it all. This is where electricity eventually came from, and all of the control that you see on this grid of the matrix, the matrix, the matrix, the matrix. And it needs to burn. It needs to burn. So through all of the pyramids into the Pentagon, the shape of the Pentagon is actually a powerful shape. And I see I see the shape of the Pentagon. It aligns with the what is that shape? I'm not getting the word because it's not used for God. It's like Star of David, but not, right? Like it's they use it in what they would say like paganism. Yeah. It hurts. It doesn't feel good. It hurts. But I see the shape. And then I see El Diablo. I see the vision of El Diablo in the center of the Pentagon. From the shapes of the Pentagon, the star points, the points of the stars, the Pentagon is using the power of the earth, just like the White House does. It used the alignment of Stonehenge and many other things to take the power of God and control mankind, control you, to trap you, to make you work for them. So they created a false money system. a false power system, a false control grid, so that you could suffer, and they would have you on like a chain gang, like a chain gang. Think of it like a chain gang. Like we have this level and that level, and it represents each point of the pentagon, each point of the star. What is that star? It's not the Star of David. It's the one they use for darkness, the one they use for spell casting, and the word is not coming to me, maybe because I don't need to invoke it. I'm here to undo it. I'm here to undo it. So you know how in witchcraft and darkness and spell casting of not so good things, they use this marking for power it brings. It calls on El Diablo, and I see it. It's like a foom, 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 foom. The crucifix. I don't know, what is it? I can't even get it in my head right now. But I see it. I see it. I see it very powerfully. And for some reason, it's like I know what it's called, but it's not letting me say it. But that's the Pentagon. And underneath the Pentagon, there are tunnels. There are tunnels that connect to many things. Just like the White House, just like Mount Shasta. Even New York. Even China, like something to do with the Great Wall of China. Saudi Arabia, and even Ghana. There are systems of manipulation and control, and they hide it from you, and it has to do with this symbol, and I see El Diablo behind it. It is not of God, and the Pentagon is purposefully aligned to that. And it's attached into what was the crystalline grid before I repaired it. And this reminds me of the Nile. So when I did the Nile, I undid a dark crystal in the core of the earth. This is a part of that too. Waterways are controlled. They create dams to block things, to create things, and they make you think it's for good stuff, but it's not what God sings. It's about division. It's about power and control. It's about making sure that they have money, that they have more, and they don't have to do anything except for put on a show. For you are their puppets. They use you and bind you. They divide you and blind you, and they make you afraid. For if you don't go to work and do what they want you to do in their system, so I'm seeing even like the different types of things that they control, and they align with this whatever that shape is. It's still not coming to me. I see the Star of David. That's of God. The Merkabah. But this is what they use in like paganism or dark magic. And you'll see it burned on floors sometimes in people's houses. You know what I'm talking about? Crucifix. I hear that. Either way, we're going to burn it. I'm going to burn it with the white flame. I'm going to burn it and cut all ties to the Pentagon. I'm going to burn it and cut their ties to Stonehenge. I'm going to burn it and expose it and burn it and expose it and burn it. It's time to be done. Right back to the sun. It's time to undo what has been done. From darkness back to light. Make everything right. Bring back the truth. We unearth you now. Night, the round table, the knights at the round table. I'm there. I feel like I'm there. I'm there. I'm sitting with them. I'm amongst them. There's a contract. There's a contract. And on that table was that symbol. The symbol of El Diablo. Taking the power of God It's supposed to represent all of the elements: fire, water, wind, earth, soul. And the Pentagon is shaped for that purpose of whole. To take from the light, to fool you all. It's time to be done. It's time to be whole. So underneath the Pentagon, I see that shape. It's that star, like the paganisms would use it, and it represents the elements supposedly, and so does the Pentagon. So it like represents fire and earth and water and air, and then the soul. So it has the 5 points, right? Fire, earth, water, air, soul. And that's what it's supposed to represent. And that's what the Pentagon has done. And it has taken the power of the one to use against you all. And that is the money matrix wall. Back to the Knights of the Round Table. There's a contract. Puppets of the master. Greed. What they now call consumerism. Only some had power, only some had this, only some had that, instead of everybody being made equal. Taking back fire, taking back water, burning their contract, burning it now. I set it on fire with the white flame. It's time to be whole, taking back water, fire, earth, and wind, taking it back, control. And the Pentagon collapses 1 point by 1 point. Then I can see like the division of land even more. Taking land, drawing borders and walls. Segregation galore. For you don't deserve what I deserve, they would say. That's what they'd say. They took your power away. The power of water, the power of fire, the power of earth and wind, the power of your soul. That is not of God. So I see myself standing in the center of the Pentagon now, and I am glowing the flame of white. I am glowing. My eyes are glowing. My hair is glowing. I see the gods all around me, and I see the power of God. The sun and the moon. The sun is above me. The moon is below. And then the point of that shape of El Diablo, where he took the power of God. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? This is that star thing, okay? It's not the Star of David. That is the Merkabah. It's the one that they would say the pagans would use, and it has the points representing fire, water, earth, air, and the soul. They took these power of the elements and they used them against the whole. They took the power of God and Christ's consciousness and took it over to Mount Shasta and divided your soul. They took the power of your soul. They took the power of life. They took the power of God. Money systems were part of this in a very big way. It's all over the bill. It's all over. You can see it all over if you look closely. You can see the proof. It's there. Look at the Pentagon. Look at it now. It's about to be gone. So as I'm standing in front of it, I'm calling back all of my power of fire and water and earth and air, I call you back now to the light of the one, the sun and the moon return to the whole. You cannot use this anymore to break down the soul. I call back all power of light of the one. Karmic, take hold. Kumpai walayo adara kondroa, polukwe deleke andrawandrawao. So as I'm saying this, I see that Knights of the Round Table, and they're being sucked through the black hole. And that symbol they would use, I'm starting at the bottom left point, and I'm lighting it with the white flame. And as it's burning from point to point, in line and connection to connection, I'm seeing a tornado form. A very large storm. And it is born out of nowhere. And it comes through with great power and vengeance, and it sucks up the White House and the Pentagon connection. It takes away the Pentagon like a tornado of power and destruction. Exposing many things. Exposing many things. This symbol they would use, cut from the core. I've taken its power back. It exists no more. I cut it from the crystalline grid and from the core of the earth, and I burn money down to its core. The Knights of the Round Table, their contract undone. It turns to white flame and to ash under the sun. The Pentagon demolished by the wind and the power of a sudden tornado storm like never before. The power of fire takes back the power to the light of the one under the sun. It is mine, it is ours. Return of our gold. Return of our riches. You cannot take hold. I undo their connection to Stonehenge undone. Under the sun, the crystalline grid. Out of all ley lines, I cut them now. They no longer have power. It all implodes. From banking to Bitcoin, it's all dirty. And it implodes. And I see this lightning and wind blowing around and removing it all. So the elements they used against you are what is going to take them down, one by one. Calling all elements back to the whole. To the sun and the moon, aligned in truth. It's all undone. Greed, bloodshed, drugs, all created by them. I see all these souls being set free from around the globe. They're free. It brings me back to the Twin Towers, something with the Pentagon. They knew. They ordered it. Saudi Arabic ties. It's all connected under the guise and disguise of lies. They will choke on the blood. They will choke on their greed. They will burn with the ashes of the fire they seed. The light of the one and the sun and the moon will be brought back and true. All of the elements that were never meant for pain are returned again. All of a sudden, from the northern star, I saw a flashlight go through the Pentagon, into the crystalline grid, and into the core of the earth. And then I see nothing left. There's nothing left. It's barren. Like New York is barren. Like in China, the Great Wall just crumbles and cracks. No more for division. No more for lies and control. Something with China. We sever the cord. We sever the cord of lies and money control to take from you. They took it from you to use it against you. They took money from you and gave it to what they would call the enemy and fooled you. Not only fooled you, but would kill you. Would cause you to fight for them in wars you thought were one thing, but were not. It was about money and greed and control and drugs. You want to know the biggest cartel? Look to the Pentagon and the White House and to Hollywood. Truth will tell. Campaio, de lo anda, de le quian, de lo controa, ya de yua. Once the elements play out the karma, all will be undone and sent through the portal of time. It is done. That shape that they would use is the mark of El Diablo. And he stole the elements for abuse and control of all of you. No more. As I said that, I sent the biggest lightning strike through the center of that symbol, which takes me to the Pentagon. Every time I look at that symbol, I go to the Pentagon, and then I also see the Knights of the Round Table. And it's like that table just imploded into the center, and all of those souls were sucked into the portal of time. Karmic playout is now. And then I see money control being undone out of everybody's pockets and wallets and bank accounts. Just cutting it free, cutting the ties. Certain banks will burn. Certain banks will burn. Cutting the ties, cutting the ties. Cutting the ties of fear and control and manipulation. Oh my God, the feeling of rent, right? Like in bills and owning a house you never really own. Karma is served. And from my hand I sent up to God, into the crystalline grid, this white light of wholeness. All those elements returned to the one, to the sun and the moon, Adam and Eve, and God. To the trees, they shouldn't be cut down for gain. Foods shouldn't be poisoned for financial gain. They don't care about you. They just want to control you, to pocket them, to give them power. They manipulate you at every turn. It is time to pay what has been done. I anchor this in, clearing it out of all pyramids, all crystalline grid, and even the core. It is removed from Fiji and the root chakra that connected to you. So that connection that I've undone is taken out of the root chakra I removed from Mount Shasta and brought back to Fiji. I have undone that. And I've undone it in your root chakra for all that could receive this one. And it was that symbol of El Diablo, the symbol that they would use. It was like the points of elements in the soul. So there were like 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it kind of looked like a star. What is that? I can't even say it, but it's been undone. That symbol is done. They cannot use God's light, God's elements, and God's power against you. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what that symbol meant. It was not for good. And it's been undone in your root chakra. I will send down more light through your system and around you. There is no more control and fear and manipulation, and they can't charge an outrageous amount so we can live. That is not right. And every time you turn around something about money to make you uncomfortable, to take time from your family and your loved ones, no more. They will have to pay the price of what they have done. This deals with Ghana, the White House, Antarctica somewhat, but not as much. The Great Wall of China had something to do with it because they would take our money and use it for power in other countries, use it for power manipulation of other countries. And they were giving your money away to them. They were giving your power away in more ways than you know. Banks exposed, all of these mines and even our jewels and our gems and our gold. It's time to be whole. So that star, that symbol of that, whatever that was, they took it was a mark of El Diablo, and that's what they're calling it, was the mark of El Diablo, the mark of the beast. And some people believe that it was like used for like paganism, which takes me to the Knights of the Round Table and something to do with the Pentagon. The Pentagon is in the same shape, I believe. That's what I keep seeing. So underneath the Pentagon is like that shape, and that's where money came from. That's where they took it from truth and divided it for power and control and manipulation and fear and greed. And drugs were a part of that. And you know how like there's diamond blood? Like they would use, even people would kill for diamonds? Yeah, they have to pay for that. I anchor this in to the great star and the pyramids and into the core and the crystalline grid. That symbol has been undone. All the elements called back, and a big huge tornado took out the Pentagon. That's what I saw. And then fire, and then imploding in those tunnels, and exposures galore, and something with aliens too. Something with aliens too over the Pentagon. So they're pouring water down my system because I feel extremely dizzy. I used my light, my flame. I used my light and my flame to take out that symbol. Like I really feel drained from that. I really feel very dizzy. So I feel like now they're pouring water. Water's being poured. So all the elements are called home completely. And they're realigning to the pyramid grid of the masculine and feminine. So that's what I'm seeing now is the fire, all of the elements back to the soul are aligning with the pyramid grid of the masculine and feminine that I've activated since 2019. It's returned back to us, our riches, our right, our land, our people. Back to the gods of time. So whatever side of money you fall upon will determine your karmic playout. Just like everything I have done. This can be received by those that are ready. And if you are not, you will be, hopefully. What you can receive is being in your energy. So if you were here today and you couldn't quite receive, it will stay with you until you can. It just depends on how much shadow is present, how much shadow needs to be healed, okay? Because I'm not here to hurt anybody, and we can't be duality. So if you're on the path, if you're healing, and it's just not quite there yet, it will stay in your energy. But if you were ready to completely receive, that symbol was removed from the root chakra, which had to do with Fiji, which is what they took to Mount Shasta and dirtied. And it had to do with the Pentagon and everything I've mentioned today. And I keep going back to the Knights of the Round Table and that sign, that symbol of the star, the 5 star points, right? Whatever that was. And you would find it in people's homes, and they would say that it was for paganism, and it had to do with fire, earth, water, wind, and the soul. And all of that was undone. I burned it with the light of the one. Thank you for joining me. Big tornado, take out the Pentagon. I love you all. You cannot own me. You cannot buy me. Money has no control. All the truth and the right has been returned to God. You cannot use God's light for anything but love. Let karma behold. So much love to all of you. Thank you for joining me today. If you did, I make no judgments to what came through. I have no expectations. I did what I was told to do. I thank you to this crystalline grid. They're telling me to light the Palo Santo once again, so I will do that now to end this out. The best thing I saw was that Knight of the Round Table, and it crumbled inward, and I saw all these it was men, it was all men, but they were doing it for like lust and greed and control and non-equality, right? They wanted to be in charge, and I believe it began then. And then something with the Pentagon, of course, the White House, because they're connected. Stonehenge, it's all connected, okay? Everything I mentioned matters, and I mean everything. But there was some contract that began at the Knights of the Round Table that I undid, and something to do with alien activity with the Pentagon. That was interesting. But that star, I will look it up now, because I see it in my head, and I couldn't say it as I was doing the work for a reason. But I will look it up now. It's the star. It's the one that they say, like I see it sometimes in like those, you know, shows about ghosts and things like that, or let me look it up. I'm gonna look it up really, really quick to see what it meant. They say that pagans use it. It supposedly represented the elements, just like I said. But what Spirit called it was the mark of the beast. El Diablo, star of El Diablo. It was like the symbol of El Diablo. So I'm just trying to look it up if it'll let me. All of a sudden my thing's taking a while. 5-point star is what I'm being told to look up, so I'm going to look that up. Oops. 5-point star. Supposedly it's a symbol of El Diablo. It's what the Pentagon was built upon. And they use the alignment of God. They use the power of the elements and the soul. So it's like taking the there it is, the pentagram. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's called the pentagram. Pentagon, pentagram. Dude, every time I would say Pentagon, I would see that star. It's a pentagram. A pentagram is a regular 5-pointed star polygon formed from the diagonal line segments of a convex regular pentagon. Okay, well, there you go. That was validating for me because I had no idea. Okay, so it did symbolize the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Well, that was very validating for me. That was the symbol of El Diablo, because that's not in God's menagerie. I have never used that symbol. I use the Star of David, the Merkabah. And the Pentagon was based on that symbol, and that had to do with money. Now, hang on a second. A 5-pointed star... It looks like that shield as well. They would have it on the shield of... Ooh, look up the Knights of the Round Table. Let me look this up really quick. The Egyptian representing the star had 5 points. Arms, a suit of arms. The coat of arms of the De Vere family. The First Crusade, attributed to the First Crusade. Oh my gosh, the White Star. You guys, this is so validating. I'm like looking this up. I wish you could see what I'm seeing right now. I'm looking it up on Google. It was actually under Wikipedia, but it makes sense to everything I did today. It makes absolutely sense to everything I did today. It's used in military badges in the 19th century. Oh my gosh. They're saying El Diablo used it. Relation to the pentagram. As a symbol or emblem, the 5-pointed star. Wow. Occult. Given to the pentagram. So the Pentagon, you think there's any... Yeah, there's no coincidence there. I feel so validated because at first I'm like, what am I doing? Does this even make sense? Oh my gosh, you guys. This makes lots of sense. So what came through today was the Knights of the Round Table. It's called a pentagram. And a pentagon is what I took out. There are no coincidences. Removal of the money matrix is done. Welcome to the return of Christ. I'll see you guys next time.